Hello friends, welcome to my channel. This is Charan. In this video I will show you in Windows application how to create the CRUD functionality, insert, update, delete and display the records in a datagridview control. I am inserting a new record. The employee name is Varun v@gmail.com. The salary is 4444. Insert. A record is successfully saved. Okay, see here we got the 18 Varun v@gmail.com. His salary is 444. Let's update this Varun employee. I'm selecting the employee Varun. Update. Here the employee ID is 18. The Varun, I'm adding Varun Kumar vkumar@gmail, which is the email ID, and the salary is 3434. Save. Record updated successfully. Notice the Varun Kumar name is vkumar@gmail.com. 3434 his salary is updated. Let's check the final one. To delete this Varun Kumar employee, I'm selecting the ID 18, delete. A record deleted successfully. Okay, see, the Varun Kumar is deleted successfully. If you are a first time visitor to my channel, please subscribe to get the latest updates. For this video tutorial, I have created a new project, and the project name is a Windows Forms CRUD operation, which contains a Form 1 page. Before creating the designing and coding part, let's visit the SQL Server Management Studio. We'll check the table and the column names. The table name is the employee table, which contains 7 rows. Now I want to perform CRUD operation, inserting, updating and deleting on this table. Let's switch back to the winforms. We'll first designing part, and later we'll write the coding part. Let me expand this Form 1 design page. Now in this Form 1 design, I am adding 3 text box controls, 3 button controls for inserting, updating and deleting, and 1 data grid view control to display the records. Go to Toolbox. All Windows forms, I'm expanding that one. Text box. Second text box, and the third text box. I required only 3 text boxes: name, email and salary. Now I'm adding button controls. Go to Toolbox, button control, F4, the button 1 properties. I'm changing the text to insert. The second text box second button control, F4, update. The third one for delete, F4, delete. Now I am adding a data grid view control. Go to Toolbox. I am expanding the data folder, data grid view control. Let's add some labels for this text boxes. Go to Toolbox, label, F4. First one is a name, second label for email, the third label is for the salary, the fourth salary. That's it, we have done the designing part. Double click the form 1. Now in the code behind, I'm adding some namespaces using system.data.sql client, and I'm adding the system.configuration namespace also using system.configuration. And also we require the system.data, which is already available by default. System.configuration namespace is helpful to fetch the configuration settings from the app.config file. After adding the namespaces, now we'll add the connection string in the app.config file. Go to Server Explorer, right click the data connections, add connection. The server name of SQL Server is. After adding the server name, I'm selecting the database name, which is a sample DB. Test connection is succeeded. OK. And notice under data connections, we got the sample db.dbo is added. Now we need this connection string of this sample db. Right click that one, go to properties. In the properties, the third option is a connection string, which is a data source. Copy the whole part. Let's add this connection string in the app.config file. Go to Solution Explorer, app.config file, open that one. Now in the app.config file, inside the configuration, I am adding connection string, add name is equals to, I am giving proper name to my connection string, which is my con connection string. I am pasting the data source connection string, which I have copied earlier and pasted here. Provider name, which is a SQL Server, system.data.sql client. After adding the connection string in the app.config file, switch to the form1.cs. Now the main important is, even when we have added the system.configuration namespace in Windows application, by default the system.configuration is not available in the project reference. See, the system.configuration is not available. So we need to add the system.configuration, then only we can access the system.configuration classes in our web form. Right click the references, add reference, here the system.configuration, select that one, OK. After that, I'm creating a function private void display data. Now in this function, I'm adding the connection string properties. String main con is equals to configuration manager dot connection strings. Between double quotes, I'm adding the connection string name. Open app.config. The connection string name is mycon. Copy that one and pasting here dot connection string. SQL connection, SQL con is equals to new SQL connection. I have created an object for the SQL connection class. Now here inside, I'm adding main con. String SQL query is equals to, the SQL query is a select statement. Select start from The table name is dbo.employee. Copy that one. Copy this one. Pasting here. Let's open the connection string. Open method. SQL command. SQL com is equals to new SQL command, which takes two parameters. One is the SQL query command text, and the second parameter is the connection object, which is the SQL con. I'm adding here. Data table dt is equals to new data table SQL data adapter SDR is equals to new SQL data adapter, which takes the parameter of SQL command object. After that, I'm filling the data SDR dot fill method with the data table object. Now I'm adding the data source to the datagridview control. Datagridview 1, which is the datagridview control ID dot data source is equals to, I'm getting the data from the data table object dt, and the last one I'm closing the connection string SQL con dot close method. After that, I'm adding the display data in the public form 1. That's it. Up to now we have getting the values in the datagridview control. Let's check the output. Start. And here we got the output. We got the text box controls, button controls, and the table is binded in the datagridview control. Now let's write the code for the insert functionality. I'm stop debugging. Switch to the design mode. Double click the insert button. It will generate the button click event for the insert button. Instead of writing again the connection strings, I'm copying this one up to here and pasting here. I'm deleting the select statement. Now here in SQL query, I'm writing the insert statement. Insert into the table name is a dbo.employee. Values are the column names. At the first column is a name. The second column is the email. Copy this one. And the third one is the salary. After writing the insert statement, SQL com.parameters.add with value. The first parameter, I'm adding the parameter name. So the first parameter is the at name, the column name. Comma. And the second one is the object value. Here the object is the text box control ID. Text box 1 dot text. Let's copy this one. Let's add the second column name, which is email. Text box 2. The third column is a salary. The text box control is the text box 3 dot text. SQL command dot execute non-query method. Once the record is inserted successfully, I want to display the message box dot show, which takes the string parameter record is successfully saved. After I inserted the newly record, I want to update the data grid view control. So I'm adding the display data function, and the last one I'm closing the connection string SQL con.close method. That's it. Now it's testing time. Start. Let's enter some values. The name is Mohit at gmail.com, and his salary is 1111. Insert, and here we got the message record is successfully saved. Okay, see the Mohit at gmail.com, and his salary is 1111. So let's check the table in SQL Server. I'm executing this statement, and see here we got the results of these employee tables. Notice we got the name Mohit, Gmail, and the salary is 111. Now in my next video I will show you the update functionality. To update an particular employee record, we need a checkbox column into this data grid view control. First we'll add a new column with a checkbox control into this data grid view control. Let's close the output window and stop debugging. Switch to the form1.cs. In the form1 public form1, I'm adding a class data grid view column, data grid view checkbox column chk. I'm creating an object new data grid view checkbox column. I'm adding a header to the newly created checkbox column chk dot header text is equals to select, and the type of this checkbox control is a boolean type. chk dot value type is equals to type of bool. chk dot name is equals to chk box. After that, I'm adding these checkbox controls to the data grid view column. Data grid view one dot columns dot insert method takes two parameters. The first one is a integer type, which is a column number, the column index. So I want to add the checkbox column at the starting first column 0, and the data grid view column is object chk. That's it. Let's check the output. The newly created column with a checkbox control is added to a data grid view control or not. Start. And here we got the output. Notice the first column in the data grid view is a checkbox control. Now let's add the update functionality to update the employee records of this selected checkbox. Let's close the output. Switch to the design mode. Before creating the button click event for the update, let's add a label. When a checkbox control is selected, I want to display that employee number label. Go to toolbox, label control. F4, I'm deleting the default text for the label 4. Now double click the button control of the update. And here we got the button click event for the update button. First, I'm declaring a public string variable. The selected employee ID will be displayed on the label for control. Public string message is equals to string dot empty. Now I'm adding the for each loop for the selected checkbox controls. For each data grid view row in data grid view 1 dot rows, bool is selected. If the checkbox is selected, is equals to convert dot boolean to boolean row dot cells Now inside the cells, I am adding the checkbox name. Dot value. If is selected, message plus is equals to environment dot new line message plus is equals to row dot cells. Now inside the cells I am adding the column name of the employee ID, which is the ID dot value dot toString. Label 4 dot text is equals to message. Let's check the output. When a selected checkbox, the employee ID is displaying in this label 4 or not. Start. And here we got the output. I am selecting the employee name Mohit, which is a 17. When I click update, see here the employee ID 17 is displayed on the label. Now I'll create a new button control to save the updated values. Let's close the output. Switch to the design mode, toolbox, button control. F4, save. Switch to the form1.cs. In the form load, button control 4, which is a save button ID dot visible is equals to false. Come to the bottom. Label 4 dot visible is equals to true. I want to visible the save button control, which is a button 4 is a save button ID dot visible is equals to true. When the save button is visible, I want to disable the insert, update and delete button controls. Button 1 is for the insert, enable is equals to false. Button 2 is the update button, enable is equals to false. Button 3 is the ID of the delete button, is enabled is equals to false. When the project starts, the save button will be invisible until we click the update button control. Once the save button is visible, I want to disable the insert, update and delete button controls. Let's check the output, how it looks. Start. See, the save button is invisible mode. Once I selected particular employee record, for example, Peter, his employee ID is 10, when I click update, the employee ID 10 will be visible and the three buttons, the insert, update and delete, will be disabled and the save button will be visible. Update, and see, we got the save button visible and these three buttons are the disabled. Once we updated the employee ID 10, again the save button will be invisible and the insert, update, delete buttons will be enabled. Let's close the output. Switch to the design mode. Double click the save button control. Now here, instead of writing again the connection string, I'm just pasting this code. In my part 1 video, I have explained clearly how to create the SQL Server connection string and add into this app.config file. Please watch that video if you don't know how to add the connection strings. Now I'm deleting this insert statement. Instead of insert, I'm adding update the table name, set the column name is equals to @name, email is equals to @email, and salary is equals to @salary, where the selected ID column ID is equals to @id. sql.com.parameters.add with value, which takes two parameters. One is the parameter name. The parameter name, first I'm adding id @id, which is a string, comma, and the second is the object value. We are getting the object value here from the label control, label 4.text int 32.parse method sql.com.parameters.add with value. The second one is the name dot textbox1.text. Let's copy this for the email and the last one for the salary. @email, copy that one, and the text box control ID is textbox2, which is the email ID. The last column for the salary, the text box ID is 3. sql.com.execute non-query method. After that, let's close the connection string, close method. Once the selected employee ID is updated, I want to display the message. For that, I'm using message box.show record updated successfully. Once the record is updated successfully, I want to update the datagridview control also. So the datagridview control, I have created a function display data, which I have explained in my part 1 video. This one. So that function I have called here. After that, I want to make the save button invisible, false. So let's copy these ones, button controls. The button 4 ID is the save button. I'm making this false, and I'm making the insert, update and delete button controls are visible. true, true, and true. That's it. Let's update the employee details. Start. And here we got the output. I'm selecting the name employee Mohit, update, and notice the button controls insert, update and delete are disabled. Let's enter. The employee name 17 is a Mohit. Instead of Mohit, I'm adding Mohit Kumar. Email is a Mohit at Gmail. I'm adding yahoo.com. And his salary is 111. I'm adding 2222. Save. We got a message, record updated successfully. Once we click OK, see the data grid view is updated. Mohit Kumar, Mohit at yahoo.com, and his salary is 322. And also the save button has gone, and insert, update and delete buttons are enabled. Now let's start to delete the employee record. Double click the button control of the delete, and here we got the button click event for the delete functionality. Now first I'm adding the connection strings. Copy that one and pasting here. If you don't know how to add the SQL Server connection string in the app.config file, in my part 1 video I have explained clearly. Please watch that video. List string employee select is equals to new list string. I'm creating an object for the data grid view row. Data grid view row is equals to new data grid view row. For int I is equals to 0, I is less than equals to data grid view 1 dot rows dot count minus 1 I plus plus. Row is equals to data grid view 1 dot rows I. Next I'm checking the condition if the checkbox is selected or not in the data grid view control. If row dot cells, the checkbox control, the column is a 0, the first column, dot value equals to true. And the selection checkbox type is a boolean, so I'm converting here convert dot to boolean. String id is equals to row dot cells dot value dot toString. Employee select, which is a list string object dot, I'm adding the string item, which is id. For each loop, string s in employee select SQL command, SQL com is equals to new SQL command, which takes two parameters. One is a statement command type, which is a delete statement. Delete from the table name is dvo.employee. I'm pasting here, where ID is a column, single quotes, plus plus, double quotes, single quotes, double quotes. I'm adding here between plus plus s, comma. The second parameter is the connection object, which is a SQL con. I'm pasting here. Let's execute the command SQL command.execute non-query. After execute the delete statement, I want to display the message the selected record is deleted successfully. Message box dot show record deleted successfully. I'm closing the connection string, close method. After that, calling the display data function, which is this one. This display function is to display the records in a datagridview control. Display data method. Here we forgot to open the connection string, SQL con.open method. Let's check the output. The selected employee is deleting or not. Start. And here we got the output. I'm selecting the employee ID 17, which is Mohit Kumar. Delete. Say record deleted successfully. Click OK. See here, the record is successfully deleted from the table. I am inserting a new record. The employee name is Varun v@gmail.com. The salary is 4444. Insert. A record is successfully saved. Okay. See here we got the 18 Varun v@gmail.com. His salary is 444. Let's update this Varun employee. I'm selecting the employee Varun. Update. Here the employee ID is 18. The Varun, I'm adding Varun Kumar. vkumar@gmail, which is the email ID, and the salary is 3434. Save. Record updated successfully. Notice the Varun Kumar name is vkumar@gmail.com. 3434. His salary is updated. Let's check the final one to delete this Varun Kumar employee. I'm selecting the ID 18. Delete. Record deleted successfully. Okay. See, the Varun Kumar is deleted successfully. That's it.